The next speaker is Rebecca Kavanagh, speaking on the subject of the economic impact of the lack of odor management. Rebecca has a BA in Geography, Planning and Environmental Policy from University College Dublin and holds an MSc in Marine Planning for Sustainable Development. After working in the public sector in Ireland and Scotland on various environmental projects over the past number of years, she joined the Ambiente et Odor team in March of this year. She currently works as an environmental consultant for AEO. Rebecca.
Thank you. Today I'm going to speak about the impact of the lack of odour management here in the Basque Country. I'm presenting on a paper that the team at AEO did where they quantify this. So the two influencing factors that we took into consideration were the decrease in property value that's been affected by odour impact and the impact on public health. The map here shows the location of industries in the Basque Country that are required to undertake an environmental impact assessment prior to undertaking any industrial activities. And an EIA is a rigorous assessment where they try to determine the impact that the potential activity is going to have on the environment, and if so, to what extent. So next, we determined the zone of influence, and we used a classification system that was based on the draft bill against odour pollution. So they established some target values that were according to the type of activity, and they used slightly annoying, annoying, very annoying, and we've used slight, moderate, and severe. So to do this, we used fixed distances rather than spatial modeling due to the capacity at the time and the sheer amount of data that's available for the Basque Country and industry. So this has been done before in the Netherlands, and what they have done is take fixed distances in a study called the Odors in the Netherlands and Consequences for Spatial Planning. So they were successful, and they used low, medium to high in their classification systems. I'm going to show a series of maps that were done by my colleague, Ainoa, and this was to determine the zone or area of influence. And next, we tried to calculate what the impact would be on the nearby populations. So I'll talk about numbers in a couple of slides. But the 4 data sets that we took into consideration were all data from publicly available sources, Eurostat and Echeverry. So we took population data from the population census, the surface area of the municipalities, house prices per meter squared, and the number of people per dwelling. So you can see in blue the more severe areas of influence, and in purple the moderate. We took these data sets and then we analyzed them using GIS to produce these maps, and also to equate some sort of monetary value. So, sorry. In the next slide, you can see the number of inhabitants by municipality, where you can see that Biscaya has the most dense population and therefore has the most industrial activity and therefore emits the most odour. But to actually talk about the numbers and what the actual cost of not regulating odours in the Basque Country is about 2.58 by 10 to the power of 7 meters squared in areas that are considered to be severe in the classification system, and about 9 by 10 to the power of 7 in areas considered to be moderately affected by odour. So if the house price per population, different populations are considered, this equates to over 378 million euros for areas that are considered to be severe, and 1,180 million euros on house prices that are considered to be in the moderate area of influence. So if we think about this high number of money that's impacted, So if we think about this in percentages, this is 12%, a 12% decrease in the value of property prices in the areas considered to be severe, and 5% in the areas considered to be in moderate, a classification in moderate area. So given that it would affect some 25,295 inhabitants within the severe area and 92,888 inhabitants in the moderate area, this surely justifies some sort of introduction of industrial filtration system within these areas, as it's not only impacting the decrease in house values, but it's also impacting human health. So extrapolated from a Finnish study, we found out that the most common symptoms due to odor have been fever, and in both the combined severe and moderate areas in the classification system is a combination of over 17 million euros that's impacting the vast country. So I have a lot more numbers to talk about, but I've just decided to talk about these ones for today, but invite you to come to our stand or grab one of us if you see us from the floor. But I'll just talk about a couple of limitations for this project, is that this specifically was only done for the Basque Country, and we only used publicly available data. But we are currently working on doing this for all of Europe, so hopefully you'll see that in the near future. This has been shorter than I anticipated, but hopefully it will help us catch up on time. So, but if you have any questions, let me know, or just come and visit our stand. Thanks.
Any questions? Rob.
I just want to mention the health effects of odor, and I want to add that we also checked in our face-to-face interviews if there are any health effects, and we don't found any. Even not sleeping, disturbed in sleeping, using tablets for sleeping, such things were asked, and we don't found any connection to odor, except nausea, and I think it's nausea causing odors where you really feel really bad because it's a very, very unpleasant odor. Then you really have immediately maybe a health effect. But also, we never treat odor as a health effect. Or we always say odor doesn't have an immediate health effect. Otherwise, you cannot use these limit values because health effects are not allowed. So you had to avoid them. And therefore, it's if you can make the connection to fever, I don't know.
Carlos?
There are a lot of numbers made in this study that Rebecca didn't show. One important one is how we did calculate which was the cost of that, and then we have references for that. And the publish is not paper, so you don't have it. We will put it in the documentation so that you can check the numbers and how we did it, so don't worry about that. But I disagree with what you say, Ralph, because we actually had this doubt about if there was a health effect, headache, or fever, or dizziness, or all these kind of effects that you have. And in this study that Rebecca didn't put the reference, but there are many. We have like 20. We just took this because it was clear, but we have many, many. And it is quantified, which is the impact in the health system of just having a headache. Of just having a headache, that it looks like it's nothing, it's not affecting our health, it's a headache, tomorrow you will be fine. Would that have an impact in your health? And it has. Maybe not as much as if you have cancer, but it has. So we took those numbers, and that's why we did this calculation. Of course, there is a lot of room for improvement, but this is what we could do at this stage.
Thank you. Of course, this has been a long discussion in the studies for the economic and health impact of noise, which is largely the same. We are below the levels where you have real physiological effects, but the effects of stress are, of course, associated with these environmental aesthetics factors as noise and odor. So it's a slippery area, and this discussion shows that. Any further questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.